Welcome to the lecture on Maxwell's equations and electromagnetic waves. In this lecture, you are going to learn Biot and Savart law, Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, Ampere's law, and equation of continuity. Before discussing the Maxwell's third equation, so let us discuss the Biot and Savart law. So let us consider a portion of the conductor carrying current I. So this is XY represents the conductor carrying current I. Small portion, let us consider dl be infinitesimally small elemental length of the conductor at a point O. Consider another point P near the conductor. So let the distance OP be is equal to R, with the AR as the unit vector directed from O to P. So let theta be the angle subtended between DL and OP. Biot-Savart law states that magnitude and direction of the small magnetic field produced at DH at P due to the elemental length DL of current carrying conductor. So the Biot and Savart law uh, gives the direction and the amount of the magnetic produced at P due to the current carrying conductor here. So the magnitude of the magnetic field DH at P is 1, directly proportional to the length of the element, that is a DL, the length of the conductor. Second one, it is directly proportional to the current through the element, that is I. Third one, it is directly proportional to the sine of the angle theta, that is sine theta. And it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance r. So that now what is the direction of the magnetic field DH? The direction of the magnetic field DH is perpendicular to the plane containing both the element DL and the line joining the point to the element, that is R. So it is perpendicular to both DL and R, and it is directed along the direction of progress of the right-handed screw turned from DL to DL. So that is the direction of the magnetic field DH. So therefore, mathematically we can write DH, that is the magnetic field produced at P, is proportional to the current I and DL, elemental length DL, and sine of the theta, and inversely proportional to R square. Or you can write DH is equal to I into DL into sine theta divided by 4 pi R square, where 1 by 4 pi is the proportionality constant. The Biot-Savart law could be expressed in the vector form as vector dh is equal to I into vector dl cross ar hat divided by 4 pi r square. So where vector dl is in the direction of the current and ar hat is the unit vector directed from point O to P, from O to P. So now let us discuss Maxwell's third equation, which is nothing but the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. The statement is that whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the circuit, an EMF is induced and is equal to the rate of change of the magnetic flux. The EMF induced is in such a direction that it opposes the change in the flux. So mathematically the induced EMF is given by E is equal to minus d pi by dt, where phi is the magnetic flux linked with the circuit. For a coil of n turns, the induced EMF due to the rate of change of flux is given by E is equal to minus n into d phi by dt. So now consider a loop of conducting material which is stationary. So as per the Faraday's law, induced EMF E in the loop is given by E is equal to minus d pi by dt. So magnetic flux through the circuit is given by the total flux psi is equal to surface integral of V dot ds. So that therefore E is equal to minus d pi by dt. So therefore minus d by dt of substitute for phi. So that is equal to surface integral V dot ds. So that is equal to minus surface integral of dB and del B by del T dot ds. That is equation 1. So the induced EMF in the circuit is equal to the induced electric field E around the circuit. So mathematically, so E is also equal to the line integral of E dot dl. So from 1 and 2 we can write, so line integral of E dot dl is equal to minus surface integral of del B by del T dot ds. Now using Stokes theorem we can write line integral of E dot dl is equal to surface integral of curl of E dot ds. So now substitute for E dot dl in the earlier equation. So we will get surface integral of curl of E dot ds is equal to minus surface integral of del B by del T dot ds. So now taking this to this side, so you will get surface integral of curl of E plus del B by del T dot ds is equal to 0. Here ds cannot be 0, so therefore curl of E plus del B by del T should be equal to 0. So therefore curl of E should be equal to minus del B by del T. So this is Faraday's law in a differential form, and it is the third Maxwell's equation. So before discussing Maxwell's fourth equation, so let us discuss Ampere's law. Ampere's circuital law states that the line integral of the magnetic field H around any closed path is equal to the net current enclosed by this path. Mathematically, we can write the closed line integral H dl is equal to current enclosed. That is equation 1. So by applying Stokes theorem, we get, so we can convert this line integral to the surface integral by Stokes theorem. So therefore, the surface integral curl H dot ds is equal to the current enclosed. That equation 2. The equation for current could be obtained as the current I enclosed, that current enclosed is equal to surface integral of J dot ds, because we know that where J represents the current density, which is nothing but the current by area. So therefore we can write the current I is equal to surface integral J dot ds. So from equation 2 and 3 we can write surface integral curl H dot ds is equal to surface integral J dot ds, or we will get curl H is equal to K. So this is Ampere's circuital law and Maxwell's fourth equation, which is applicable only for the steady state. In order to understand why the correction is needed for Maxwell's equation obtained from Ampere's circuital law, one has to know about the equation of continuity. So let us discuss equation of continuity. So in all processes involving motion of charge carriers, the net charge is always conserved and is called the law of conservation of charges. Let us consider a volume V bounded by a surface S. A net charge Q exists within this region. If a net current I flows out of this volume, From the principle of conservation of charge, this current can be equated to the time rate of decrease of charge within this volume. That is, I is equal to minus dq by dt. So, but I, the current is equal to the surface integral of J dot ds, where J is the current density and total charge Q is equal to volume integral of rho v into dv, where rho v is the charge density. So substituting for I and dq by dt, so we will get surface integral J dot ds is equal to minus del by del t volume integral of rho v into dv, that is equation 1. So using the Gauss divergence theorem, so we know that surface integral J dot ds is equal to volume integral of divergence of J dot dv. So substituting this in equation 1, so we will get the volume integral of divergence of J dot dv is equal to minus del by del t volume integral rho v into dv. So the above equation could be reduced to volume integral divergence of J dot dv is equal to minus volume integral of del rho v divided by del t into dv. Thus the equation of continuity could be written as divergent of J is equal to minus del rho v by del t. So this equation is also the law of conservation of charges and it is called as the equation of continuity.